Tonight, the National Democratic Congress weighs its legal move, including the option of seeking a review of the Supreme Court's decision that quashed the High Court's judgment annulling the election of MPPs Matthew Nyindam as Member of Parliament for Pandai.
It's not the end. This matter is not the end. When we obtain the ruling, and that's the certified true copy, and we study it, we advise ourselves. There's a review option. So this matter is not ended. It's not ended.
We have details from the Supreme Court where the MPP insists the ruling represents justice prevailing and says no review application can overturn what it describes as the clear will of the people.
The court and you have 4-1 decision, you can come up review. Review, they will add 2. Therefore, will not change their position to be 4-3 in the likely event. So I think they should just forget about it.
Plus, we bring you an exclusive interview with the freshly restored MP for Pandai, who is bracing for another round of fierce legal battle as the NDC considers a review.
If the lawyers will be honest to him, they will know that they will not go for any review. If they will be honest and sincere with him, they will tell him that, please, prepare for 2028. The 4-1 I saw today clearly tells me that the law is the law.
We have details of that here on Top Story. Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Fostina Sarfo. Please stay for details. Tonight, opposition National Democratic Congress are weighing a raft of legal moves after the Supreme Court quashed the judgment of the High Court, which annulled the election of MPPs Matthew Nyindam as MP for Kpandai. This morning, the Apex Court, in a 4-1 majority decision, restored MPPs Matthew Nyindam as the Member of Parliament for Kpandai, but the NDC say they are seriously aggrieved with the decision of the court. We'll delve into that shortly. Kwaku Asante is a member of our Legal Affairs desk here joining us. He was in court for us, Kwaku, and he joins us in the studio. Kwaku, let's start with really the antecedent of this case.
24th November, that was the date the court in Tamale, the High Court in Tamale, delivered its judgment on the election petition that had been filed by Daniel Nsala Wakpal of the NDC, challenging the validity of the election of Matthew Nyindam to the Parliament of Ghana. The court annulled that election and ordered for a rerun. We know that Parliament subsequently declared the seat vacant and then proceeded to take certain steps that would have ensured that a by-election would have been held in Pandai by the EC at the end of December last year. But Matthew Nyindam went to the Supreme Court with this action challenging the jurisdiction of the High Court to hear this particular case, because their case hinged on the fact that the NDC had filed their case out of time, exceeding the 21 days that the law provides for filing parliamentary election petitions. And that is why they went to court. And so today, that 5-member committee of the 5-member panel of the Supreme Court, I should say, actually handed down its judgment. It's an interesting panel if you look at it. It was presided over by Justice Gabriel Scott Poman, is currently the second most senior judge on the Supreme Court. There was Justice Amadou Omoro Tanko, Justice Yoni Kulendi, Justice Kwame Adibu Asiedu, and Justice Henry Kofi. These are the 5 judges that sat on this matter. Ultimately, 4 of them, Justice Amadou Omoro Tanko, Justice Yoni Kulendi, Justice Samuel Kwame Adibu Asiedu, and Justice Henry Kofi, agreed with the case that had been filed by the NPP that the election petition had been filed out of time, for which reason that judgment of the High Court ought to be quashed, because the High Court did not even have jurisdiction to hear that election petition in the first place. Gabriel Scott Poman disagreed. We are yet to see the full reasoning of the court, and we will get to see that on the 6th of February.
And I'm quite interested in the reactions that have been pouring in. I know you've engaged both sides. Let's start with the majority.
Yes, the majority chief whip, Rashid Tanko Computer, who was in court together with a pack of NDC executives, including Tanko Rashid Computer, and the parliamentary candidate for the party himself, Daniel Nsala Wakpal. They say that this is actually far from over. They are waiting for 6th February. They will peruse the judgment of the Supreme Court, and they are not discarding any option of going back to the Supreme Court to ask for a review.
The court has just given its decision in the Kpandai matter. Is to the effect that the decision of the Tamale High Court, the Commercial Division, presided by Justice Brew, I believe, be quashed by a 4-1 decision. Now, as a party, we are aggrieved by this decision, and therefore we will advise our candidate in the matter regarding the next step to take. But the court is a court of equity and of law. We should be interested in the Gazette notification published by the Assembly Press under the authority of the Electoral Commission that was brought to Parliament, for which people like me were sworn in. That cannot be a gazette that will be discounted by the court, because it's a public document. The MPP cannot benefit from that gazette notification and come to court and say that that is not the proper document. You see, the MPP, when the Tamale court gave their decision in our favor, they called the court a kangaroo court. Today, when they got the court decision in their favor, they are singing the praises of the court. But we are law-abiding. We want to urge our teaming supporters, both here and in Pandai, to remain calm. This is not the end. This matter is not the end. The ruling of the court will be filed according to the court's own decision by the 6th of February. When we obtain the ruling, and that's the certified true copy, and we study it, we advise ourselves. There's a review option. So this matter is not ended. It's not ended. It's not ended.
Thank you very much.
We shouldn't think that it is over. The MPP shouldn't think that it is over. It is not over.
It is not over, they say. But then the MPP, they are excited. Tell me, you've been engaging some of them.
Well, yes, Gary Nimakomafo, he led the team of lawyers for the parliamentary candidate, and in fact, the member of parliament, Matthew Nyindam. He says the NDC should dead any idea of a review. As far as they are concerned, this was a 4-1 decision. When you go for a review, the ordinary panel will be extended with 2 more judges. And even if all the 2 judges agree with the NDC, they do not foresee that any of the 4 that voted for them in this matter today will change their mind and join the other side. And so, as far as they are concerned, this is a foregone conclusion, and the NDC should move on.
That the Supreme Court has spoken emphatically that the decision of the Tamale High Court was made without jurisdiction, and so the court has quashed it, and it's hereby quashed. So Honorable Nyindam still remains the MP of the people of Pandai, so we call it still maintained to the court, and you have 4-1 decision. You can come up review. They will add 2. The 4 will not change their position to be 4-3 in the likely event. So I think they should just forget about it.
I mean, there are those who say that, and in fact, they say in their press conference that you in the MPP have exhibited some hypocrisy. I mean, Rashid Tanko Computer, he says when the High Court in Tamale gave that judgment, you were very sad about that, and you actually used language on the judge that he did not agree with. But now you've gotten a favorable judgment, and you are singing praises in the Supreme Court.
You see, when you come to court, and a decision goes whether one way or the other, you take a legal route. What we did as a party, we took a legal route, and the court has said us. So that should be it. Thank you.
Well, I still have Kwaku with me in the studio, and you've been engaging the NDC candidate for Pandai.
Yeah. Daniel Nsala Wakpal, he is very much aggrieved. In fact, in the interview, you could clearly see that he was visibly frustrated. He says this victory for the MPP is purely on technical grounds, as far as they are concerned. The MPP did not dispute in this application that they may have been rigging, for which reason the High Court was right. But it's simply because of a technicality as to when exactly the Gazette was published. And again, he re-echoes the statement of Rashid Tanko Computer, and they say they're going to look at the judgment when it comes next month, and then the next course of action will be decided.
That was the date that members of parliament was gazetted. The EC, was part of the case, was there. He didn't say anything. If we have won, I don't think they would have come to Supreme Court. But they waited. The case was done. They lost. They had to go and pick another case. That there was another 24th Gazette. So I have nothing to say. I thank God, thank my supporters, the people of Pandai. They all know that we have fought a good fight. And we're happy. They didn't say they didn't rig the election. They said we're out of time. And we'll see. We are waiting for the ruling, and we'll take it from there. Thank you very much.
Well, we have been engaging the man of the moment, the Member of Parliament for Pandai, in an exclusive interview yet to be aired on the Joy News channel by Evans Mensah on PM Express. Matthew Nyindam admits the legal battle has left him broke, but says he's confident he can still wage another round of fierce legal battle if the NDC decides to pursue a review at the Supreme Court.
Apart from the emotional strain that you've admitted to, this must have also cost you a lot financially. You must be, if not broke, almost broke. Congratulations.
Thank you, Evans. It's not been easy.
How does it feel?
Well, I feel that my God has spoken. It's been hell, to be honest with you. For 1 year now, I've never had peace to work as an MP. But I've been enduring it because that's part of the job. But on the 24th of November 2025, I was actually shocked by the decision by the High Court in Tamale. And it changed everything about me. I've seen the other side of Ghana, which is the judicial side. Honestly, I've never been to court. I'm 50 years now, I've never been to court. This is the first time. And I think that is an experience no one wants to go through. No one wants to go through. And I always say that I don't wish any MP to go through the kind of experience I've gone through. Even as I won the elections, there's no debts, I can tell you. I've never cheated deliberately in life before.
When you woke up this morning, heading to court, what were you feeling? What emotions were running through your head?
You know something? I was going to court and I told my God that, look, I have nobody to speak for me. I've trusted in God for some time now. And I hope and pray that by the time the judges will speak, God will speak through them. And I was prepared for any outcome. Although it was clear on the law that, look, you have 21 days to file a petition, and after 21 days, you don't have that opportunity.
Does it concern you that the merits of the NDC's case against your election have actually not been the subject of the Supreme Court verdict? The NDC had said that they are going to go for a review. Doesn't that concern you?
No, I'm not bothered. It's their right. Obviously, when the courts in Tamale came out with their verdict and I disagreed, the best I could do was to go to the Supreme Court when I realized I have a good case at the Supreme Court. And today, it's clear that it's 4-1, which means that we had a very good case. If they think that they want to go for a review, obviously, if you run to the Supreme Court with any case at all, obviously they will give you your outcome. But I think that with this verdict and what we are going to challenge, I don't know what they are going to say. But I don't know. And maybe they have some other law somewhere that I cannot tell. But my worry is this, Evans. I'm really worried about this particular judgment from Tamale. Okay? If we don't do anything about it, and tomorrow somebody goes to court with these same issues and file within time, this one, our luck is that these people file outside time. Okay? So we use the Shoshorari in this regard. If tomorrow somebody is within time and begin to pick this particular administrative error and go to court, then I can tell you that we won't have MPs in Parliament.
You're confident even if they pursue the review path, that you will still win?
I think that if the lawyers will be honest to him, they will know that they will not go for any review. If they will be honest and sincere with him, they will tell him that, please, prepare for 2028. The 4-1 I saw today clearly tells me that the law is the law. And the Supreme Court judges have held the integrity of this country to the very highest esteem. Yes, I am from the opposition. Yes, I don't have powers behind me. They look into my face, they look into the case and realize that, look, this young man has a case.
You heard there Matthew Nyindam, and he has also been revealing that he's broke as a result of this case in court. Let's listen to him also in that yet-to-be-aired interview with my colleague Evans Mensah. We'll play that for you shortly, but then let's go on the grounds. My colleague Martina Bugri is in the Pandai constituency, and she has been engaging constituents. What's the atmosphere like, Martina, on the grounds?
It's been jubilant all day since the verdict, and it's still on. If you go to the party office now, the entire place is filled with party supporters. They are jubilating, they are riding motorbikes, they are shouting on top of their voices, celebrating and calling it a victory, not just for the people of Pandai, but a victory for Ghanaians. They are excited that what they had anticipated had come to pass, even though they were tense because they didn't know where it would go to. But they are excited that finally it's come back to them, and they are grateful. Now, they are also cautioning that while they are celebrating, they should do it in moderation so that it doesn't anger the NDC and then trigger any sort of disturbance in the area. So as we speak now, the jubilation is still on.
And then, so far, I'm sure you've also been engaging individuals who are aligned with the NDC candidate. What's their thoughts about what transpired in court today?
All they can say is that they are waiting for their official statement from the party. And now that the party is saying that they would review and possibly go back to court, they are going with their leadership.
Martina Bugri reporting live from the Pandai constituency. But let's look at the legal remedies and what exactly would happen next now that the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of Matthew Nyindam. Join me now is legal practitioner, Justice Abdullai. He joins the conversation now. Just look at the legal remits of the conversation. We told you that Matthew Nyindam has also been engaging us here at the Joy News channel. You should expect that interview is coming up later today on the Joy News channel with Evans Mensah, and we would be playing you excerpts. He just tells us that indeed he's broke as a result of the legal battle that he endured. But I have with me Matthew Nyindam himself during the conversation. Matthew, we appreciate your time here on Top Story. I'll come to you, Justice Abdullai. Please stay with me because we want to understand the legal battles that we should expect, especially with the NDC threatening that they would indeed go for a review of this court's decision. But then the man himself is with us. Matthew, we appreciate your time here on Top Story. You must be excited.
Yes, my dear, I am excited. And I feel my God has spoken once again in my life. Back to duty to see how I can serve my people. So glory be to God. The great things He's done in my life. To also thank my lawyers and thank the Supreme Court judges for allowing themselves for God to fulfill my dream through them. I'm grateful to them.
You're grateful, you say, but the NDC say that you should get ready for another round of legal battle. They plan to review this decision. Are you ready for that?
Well, it's not up to me to say I'm ready or I'm not ready. In the first place, I wasn't ready to go to court. I won my elections with almost 4,000 votes. For whatever reason, they dragged me to court. Today, the Supreme Court has affirmed my victory, that I won the elections, and they fell out of time, and I'm restored as the MP for Pandai. If they still think that they have a good case and they want to drag me back to court, who am I to say no? I'm a law-abiding citizen, but I'm sure, very sure, that what the Supreme Court did cannot be overturned because the law is the law, and I'm sure they apply the law. All the advances, all the issues they spoke about, they were all said in court by their lawyer. But the Supreme Court examined all. Hello?
Yeah, you loud and clear.
Yeah, the Supreme Court examined all they examined ours and gave us 4-1 majority decision. I'm grateful. That's all I will say.
And then you say you're broke. How much did this legal battle cost you financially?
In fact, I cannot put a price to it or a cost to it. I am broke because, to win election in Ghana is not a small battle. I won this election with all my resources. I've never had peace. They've dragged me to court. The Supreme Court has saved me today. On the 24th of November, when my seat was under siege and the election was fixed for the 30th of December, it took only God and the help of people to be able to sustain the constituency, because Matthew cannot fight the forces of government. Where you see the whole government machinery in Pandai, campaigning, moving from places to places, my dear, it took only God intervention and the help of some other people for me to come this far. So I feel broke. If there was another word, I would have said I'm more broke than even the word broke.
But how much did it cost you, this legal battle?
My dear, I cannot put a figure to it.
10,000, 50, 100? You must know.
I cannot. Maybe you have to give me time to start preparing and put every single quest together. Then I'll be able to tell you. Even the energy, the frustration, the pressure on my family, I don't know how I'll quantify it.
But for your constituents, they have been without representation for a couple of months. What's your next line of action? How do you plan to ensure that you bring development to the Kpandai constituency?
Well, technically, you are right to say that for some couple of months, there was no representation, because if my seat is declared vacant, that is the implication. But I was down in the constituency. I was serving them. Although I didn't have the resources that the NDC, but I did my best. So they are represented. And I'm moving to the constituency straight away. As I'm speaking to you, I'm on my way to the constituency to prepare for the 31st January elections. And then to also meet with them and speak with them in a very modest way. And to thank God for the great things He's done in the life of Matthew and the life of the people of Pandai.
Let me bring in Justice Abdullai at this point in time. He's a private legal practitioner, as we understand the legal procedure that should follow after the Supreme Court's ruling. Can Matthew Nyindam walk into Parliament when the House reconvenes on Tuesday, or should there be any procedure that Parliament will have to go through, especially because the seat was declared vacant?
Indeed, my honourable friend would have to employ the tools available by informing the Clerk of Parliament of this, and the information would be through the orders or the judgments that the Supreme Court delivered. It would be prudent that he obtains copies and inform the Clerk of Parliament and indeed the Electoral Commission, even though that is not his job. The Electoral Commission part is not his job, but it would be helpful if he takes steps to notify them, even though they may not necessarily rely on that, but that would be a good notice for them, just in case they have anything up their sleeves, to hold on until official communication from Parliament reaches them.
So he cannot just walk into the House? You
cannot just walk in. At this point, walking in there will be just a matter of celebration and not an official admission by the House of his official presence.
Thank you so much, Justice Abdullai. Let me bring in Tanko Rashid Computer, as Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. You were quite optimistic that this was a win for the NDC. Obviously, the Supreme Court felt otherwise. You say you would file for a review, but then you heard from your MPP counterparts that this is dead on arrival. How do you respond to them?
Well, let me say good evening to you and your cherished listeners. The NDC is a respecter of the law. we respect the decision of the Supreme Court, but we disagree with the ruling. Indeed, we are waiting for the reasoning, which will come on the 5th of February, so that we'll look at it, the brain behind the ruling, and then we'll take our appropriate decision as to whether to go in for the review or not. But let me put it on record. Look, the matter borders on technicality. It is not about the veracity of the application that caused the nullification of the election results. The veracity of the matter is what we should be concerned ourselves with, not the technical issue that we are talking of.
But you lost the case based on the technicalities. You agree?
But let me give you an analogy. If somebody stole your good and he's caught with the good, and then you go to the police, then they say you didn't come on time. You should have come in the morning, but you rather came in the afternoon to report that this person has stolen your good. So therefore, the person should go. Does it mean that the person is not a thief? That is the point of issue we are talking here. Go and look at the ruling of the Tamale High Court, and you will see that the election was properly rigged.
Allegedly.
They connect with it is there.
Allegedly. Until a court of competence jurisdiction rules that it was rigged. We cannot say that. You agree? But then your case is dead on arrival. Based on the technicality, will you concede defeat and at least allow Matthew Nyindam to continue as Member of Parliament for the area?
Let me tell you. We are talking of representation of the people. Have you ever seen a polling station that recorded over 1,000 votes since 2020 election up to 2024? None. The highest we got was 750. In Pandai, 2 polling stations recorded 1,400, another 1,200. That is the kind of thing we are talking about. And when you have this kind of election, and somebody will use technicalities to perpetuate an illegality.
The next line of action.
We sit down here and then we can't talk about it.
What is your next line of action? Because for the NPP, this is fair complete.
We are saying that we are going to wait for the 6th February ruling, the reasoning behind the ruling, and then advise ourselves appropriately. With look, the matter has just begun. It is not conclusive yet.
Let me wrap up with Matthew Nyindam. We're hearing from the NDC. They say that the battle has just begun. Your response? Mr. Nyindam, do I have your attention? Unfortunately, I do not have the attention of Matthew Nyindam, but that's how we wrap up Top Story. We've just been engaging key individuals. Matthew Nyindam, who is Member of Parliament for Pandai. You should watch the Joy News channel later today at 9 p.m. My colleague Evan Spencer had an exclusive interview with him. He will be sharing his thoughts about all that has transpired in court, plus more. Up next is Newsnight.